Hello, viewers. Welcome to Renewed Hope podcast. I am your host, Shehu Lashek Yahya. The podcast aims to disseminate key principles and goals outlined in President Tinubu's Renewed Hope manifesto. And today we shall be talking about one of the thematic areas in the manifesto, and then I have, a special guest in the studio today who is going to be throwing light into certain aspect of the manifesto that Aswaju has promised to take seriously, which is media and publicity. Getting things that he's doing as a government to the people. So now today's topic is the place of media in the renewed hope era, and I have in the studio with me Hajia, Honorable Zeenat, Idris. Hajia, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So this show is the show for us to have general discussion about Aswaju's manifesto and the prospects and what we think it portends for Nigeria. So and luckily your topic today is on media, which I believe strongly that you're going to do justice to. So before we go into discussing the manifesto and the topic of today, we have a tradition of asking our people, our guests, when they come, to give us a background or their perspective about the renewed hope era. What do you feel?
Just like it states, the renewed hope is simple and basic at that. When something is renewed, it means that it comes from a place of hopelessness, from a place of discouragement, from a place of discouragement, from a place of not knowing what is not, what and all of that. So what it means that this government has brushed away all of those perspectives, all of those concerns, and has brought a renewed hope into our minds and our hearts, and has given us that vision and a hopeful vision of saying we are here now.
Okay, thank you so much, Hajia. So now I will go direct to the questions I have prepared for you. So how would you describe the role of media in the renewed hope? What should be the role? Should be our role?
Thank you very much, Yo. To start with, generally, the role of media itself, generally in an economy in a country, is to bridge the information gap between wherever it is that we're looking for, say, the government and the electorate, say if it's the marketing sector, the consumers and the marketers. Our role basically should be, just like I said, to continue to bridge the gap of information. You understand? To bridge it so fairly that as journalists or as media people, we should always understand that we wear two caps to fit very well on our heads when disseminating information that has to do with government policies. And when I say two caps now, one is for the government, the other is for the electorate.
Okay, so thank you, Hajia. Thank you so much for the insight so far that you've given us, and I believe that everything you're saying here is going to be taken note of, and then we'll make sure we push it out there for everybody to see that we really need to use media to promote this present administration of President Aswaju Bola and Tinubu. So now that will take me to the second question, which is in what ways do you think media has contributed in shaping public opinion about this administration?
In a lot of ways, Jim. Most importantly, correcting the wrong or negative narratives from our opposition, especially, I dare to say, the obedience. Let me take us back to the era of campaign. To the glory of God, we are here now. We've won the election, but it was a tough one. A very tough one, especially on social media, because of a lot of wrong narratives that was going on from our opposition. But I tell you something, because the Aswaju era, the Renewed Hope era, had a formidable media team, very, very, very formidable one, who knew and understood how to clap back, not in the most negative way like we were getting. What they were doing was utmostly correct, constructively now, those narratives with what was right, the truth about what we are about, what our administration was about at that time, because we weren't in the government at the
Yes,
time,
yes.
what our manifesto was about. So it was basically educating the public about
About
everything that
everything,
we are,
because if you
without
notice,
necessarily
yeah, yeah, yes, to
matching their negative energy.
exactly, because if you notice
Mm.
in the media space or the general discussion that we have, with Nigerians anywhere we go to, you realize that the Aswaju's manifesto, the President Tinubu's manifesto,
Yes.
was more in the public domain for everyone to see. Like, okay, this is a document for you to go through and see the prospect that
So
this
that
government
was
is
our
doing.
first step into saying
So
this government
that,
is
that
about transparency and
yeah,
accountability.
that gave credence to people's confidence. It gives
Yes.
confidence to people to believe that,
Yes.
okay, this man could actually lead well. And from the few months he has been in power, well, I will leave Nigerians to decide for themselves. Or how do you think the media influence policies that that are now embedded in the manifesto of Congress?
Good one, Sheo. I'll take us straight up with a very good, insightful example of fuel subsidy. In the past, the subsidy thing wouldn't have been so much accommodated and understood like it is now. The reason it have that soft landing now is because the renewal era media team did their homework very well in educating and orienting the public beforehand about this fuel subsidy.
Yeah, because I realized that some of the things that were did by different media related groups
Mm,
or platform for
mm,
President Tinubu
mm,
were not just disseminating information
mm,
through in the English language.
mm.
We had some in Hausa, in Igbo, in Yoruba, and I even saw one in Kanuri, as well. Meaning that the Aswati government considered the diverse nature of Nigeria and they tried to
Because
reach
now
the
it
message.
has to reach every Nigerian matters in this era. It is not a government of the elite. It's a government for all. Wherever you are, riverine, metropolis, villages, towns, wherever it is that in Nigeria is, this government has got you. And if you need an information to help you understand what is going on in Nigeria, in whatever language the government deems fit, it will be disseminated. And that is what the media is doing for us now.
So thank you so much. So now, how has the rise of social media platforms impacted the way news, are disseminated and consumed by the people, especially going with the this era of fake news here and there? How do you think we've been able to consume all these issues
All
with
right.
social media, with the social media era that we are now?
All right, the social media era could also be said to be the youth involvement era, because the
Yeah.
reason it's out there, the reason we're pushing so much stories out there is because, of course, you know that 85% of social media users are youth. In the past, we didn't have that percentage of youth involving themselves in politics,
Politics.
but it's the story, the narrative has changed now, because we have a high number of youth involvement in politics. We have that space and face now to disseminate this information to ourselves. Not to say that the electronic and the print media are still not as visible as they should be. They are still there. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But the social media is also covering that space for the number of youth involved. I mean, basically, the social media is doing justice to the increasing number of youth involvement now.
But
Mm.
we need to be positive, we need to be proactive, we need to be patriotic,
Mm.
we need to be good citizens and law-abiding citizens of this country by shunning vices and bad gangs and insecurity that we have in
Correct.
Nigeria today.
True.
It's because we've not had a leader that will show the way and lead the way. So now we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
Mm.
at the helm of here. So now, Hajia, can you share your thoughts on the future of media in the new era?
Very bright
And,
one. A very, very bright future. We have people like you, Shehu,
okay, thank you so much.
taking the baton,
Yeah.
and people like me, of course, I dare to say. And of course, I'm able all over the nation. We have promising, prominent youth who are come out daring to say we understand this assignment now.
Yeah.
We understand how much
Give us this job, let's do it.
It's like we are ready. They are yawning. You could see the fire in them.
The
And I'm telling
patriotism
you,
in them.
yes, our president, to the glory of God, I'm thankful. And of course, I would not finish this discussion without mentioning our grand patron, the grand patron of City Boy movement, who is also a youth, our own Jagaban, our own Idol, so to say, like he understands and prioritize youth involvement in this administration, especially the media aspect of the administration. I think is in most importantly championing this aspect
Yeah,
very,
because
very
he
well.
knows
He
he
understands that
understands the impact.
the
That
media
it
has
has,
to take in this
yes.
administration, and is working to see that we get it right, and we shall get it right by God's grace.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hajia. So this will bring us to the end of today's episode, and if you have enjoyed our program today, I can assure you that this is just the beginning of more interesting interviews that will be coming from our guests on this podcast. And on that note, I would like to tell you to join us, watch us on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitter at City Boy Media. For more exciting and insightful episode of our show. And on that note, I would like to say, cheer up, Nigeria. Hope is here.